Good morning. What's happening? Or maybe good evening. It's a little past 3 a.m. on Wednesday, the 7th day of July, 2021. Why the hell are we up so early? Well, I don't really know. This is Pepper. This is my new little cardio buddy, training buddy, and who kept me up almost the whole night before last, but it was her first night in the house and trying to crate train. So it was a little stressful for her. But last night, didn't even make a sound, man. Went right in our little crate, laid down, held strong all night. Didn't even need a pee break. Got up this morning at 3 when I woke up. That's just what I do, listen to my body alarms. And here we are. So I'm gonna put her down, let her go do her thing. Now that I've exploited my puppy. Yeah, so training and everything so far. Last time we talked to you guys, it was an hour-long conversation that I hope some of you watched at least a part of. Primarily talking about, mindset and the importance of, and for me specifically, starting a prep for a show that's not until November, December, or both, depending on which one I decide to do. So that's kind of why I've started about 20 weeks early if it's November, 22 weeks if it's December, and counting from December, I think it's 155 days today. Could be wrong on that, but I'll check. Anyway, sounds about right. And the training's been going well. I know a lot of people will probably think that it's kind of silly to start that far ahead of time. I don't really know what category I'm gonna fall in yet, because as we talked about last time, when I'm not lifting weights, I'm pedaling bicycles, and they're two very different training types, and usually two very different body types. You don't see too many super buff, muscular cyclists. Though they're lean, they're very lean. Have super developed calves and quads, obviously, but usually the upper body muscle is non-existent because it's not necessary. It's counterproductive. In fact, it's gonna slow you down. You want power to weight ratio on a bike. Really doesn't even matter what discipline you're raising. It's gonna behoove you whether you're doing downhill or cross country. Coffee. So, I'd lose a lot of muscle mass, I'd put it back on, lose a lot of muscle mass, put it back on. Actually turned out to be a blessing because when I was younger, I was impatient. I didn't pay attention to things like postural alignment, muscular imbalances, things of this nature. So what I ended up with was slabs of muscle on a crooked foundation, right? So muscles weren't firing the way they were supposed to, which means they weren't growing anymore, which means, I wasn't happy, and really neither were they, because they weren't functioning the way that they optimally could. And so being able to start from a place of ground zero again, where a lot of that muscle mass was removed, but I had a good slow twitch, anaerobic endurance base level built from just the repetitive resistance mashing against a single speed chainring for long periods of time. I was pretty fit as far as my cardiovascular fitness and my, like I said, endurance type training. And I still had, I started at 100, I was still big for a cyclist at my height. I'm 5'8" and some change and 160 pounds. That's super skinny for me. That's like what I wrestled at in high school. That's what they call normal, like on the BMI. Like that's the only time I've ever been in a healthy BMI range, and I think I was even like towards the high end then. And I had people coming up to me like, "God damn, dude! Like, are you sick? Why are you so skinny? Like, what's going on?" And it pissed me off. It pissed me off. I definitely have muscle dysmorphia. Whatever someone else sees in the mirror is not necessarily what I see in the mirror. Very hard on myself. Very critical of myself. If I ever have a day where I'm satisfied with what I've presented in terms of my package, aesthetically, it's a definite win. It's a definite good day. I feel like that's going to happen this time regardless. So I'm trying not to place too much importance on where I finish and what class I end up competing in. So back to that, like I could end up doing physique, which I've never done before. I've only competed in bodybuilding, and that was about a decade ago, the last time I did it. But I did podium in 2 different divisions, both the novice and open middleweight men's. You know, and that was not a surprise. It was a very auspicious day. It was a good day. You know, I felt like it went pretty well considering the knowledge that I had on posing and thing, which was pretty nil. You know, I did it all myself. So that's not true. I had a lot of help. I didn't have a coach. I had a lot of people that gave me some info along the way and pointers and thumbs up, thumbs down on how I was looking, but you know, I didn't have anyone per se that I was working with to show me what I was supposed to do or how to tweak a certain pose to make it work for me. Those are all things I'm still learning. So that's cool, you know, learning is always good, but I'm also a perfectionist, and you know, if I go and do something, you know, I want to do it to the greatest extent that I can. And you know, we talked last time, I'm not really a middle of the road kind of guy. It's either cold or it's hot. There's no like middle of the air conditioning temperature gauge, you know. And that's just kind of how I operate doing anything. If I have a cheat day and have donuts, I'm not gonna have one. I'll probably have half a dozen. I don't moderate well, which is why I don't drink alcohol or do drugs, other than pot, full disclosure. So, and mushrooms, full disclosure. So let's see. Having said that, I should probably stop there and say that, you know, we're gonna talk about drugs, both recreational and performance enhancing. That is not to sit here and advocate for or against the use of any substance. If you're asking me, what should I do? You should look within yourself and find out what you really think is right or wrong, and you should figure out what works for you. If you feel too weird about ingesting something, if you have to think about it too much, put it the fuck down and walk away. You know, you don't need to be doing it. If you can do something moderately and it doesn't control your thoughts and your every waking moment, then you're probably not an addict, and you're probably gonna be okay. You know, I have this weird thing that happens where if I ingest something that changes the way that I feel up here, it's on. You know, I don't know when I'll stop, and I don't know how far that will really go. You know, I could go from, you know, a line or two of cocaine to a binge that's gonna last years or until I die, and I'm just not willing to take that chance anymore. This is the bottom line. I'm just not. I've been given way too many opportunities and way too many blessings, and as you can see, it is an emotional subject for me because it is something that has taken a long time, and I thought had taken my life. You know, I thought that things had fallen apart, and you know, come to find out, it wasn't really that way. They were falling in place where they needed to. Not everyone gets that lucky. You know, I've lost a lot of friends, way too many, and it's preventable. It's preventable, which is the real ass kicker. You know, seeing people die in their teens, 20s, 30s of something that they're paying to ingest. It's heartbreaking. You know, it's heartbreaking. She wanted to be on TV. So, yeah, it's definitely a topic that's near and dear to my heart. And for all of those who struggle with addiction or have a family member or loved one who does, which is, you know, statistically speaking, more than half of the people watching this video. So if there's 2 of you watching this, one of you's got someone in your life that's an addict or an alcoholic. You know, there's a lot of different resources. There's resources for family members of the alcoholic addict. There are resources for the alcoholic addict themselves. If you need some of those, please ask. ask. If not me, there's hotlines, there's a lot of different resources. Websites, support groups, and don't write something off before you check it out. A lot of people hear Alcoholics Anonymous or Al-Anon, which is for the family members of the alcoholic, not even for the alcoholic. It's for people to learn how to live loving someone who is killing themselves. It's not an easy place to be. So use those resources. If you were like me and you're trying to get better at working out, you're probably going to read some online forums, or like me way back in the day when dinosaurs walked the earth, we read magazines and shit, and you actually had to sit your ass down and look for information in the pages of these magazines and find out who won that show, or who was competing in this show, or what was happening in the industry. And now you have so much information at the click of a button that it's just, there's no excuse not to be educated anymore. There's really not. Now we're on the opposite end of the spectrum, where everyone that has fingers to click a mouse is now an expert on everything that they think they want to know about, and that's dangerous too. So be careful where you're getting your information. Like, get 2 or 3 sources, kind of take the sum difference of those opinions, weigh it against your own, see what sticks, what doesn't, and then form your opinion. Don't just get a 2-word saying or fact and run with it and think that now both sides of the story and the answers to all things that pertain to whatever rabbit hole you're going down in the world, because there's a lot of them. Yeah, just get knowledge is power. All these little cliche, stupid ass things that we've heard for years, a lot of them hold up more truth than I would like to admit, or would have liked to admit at different points in my life. So, get as much knowledge as you can, especially if it's on a topic that you find yourself interested in, because you don't know until until you've been there, experienced it, or have a clear view of everyone that has experienced it and can verify their experience based on some of your own. You don't know. You don't fucking know. So don't sit there and talk about or to someone like you have the answers to life when you don't. This does not come with an instruction manual for anyone. Not parents, not children, not grandparents, not just regular old people who live by themselves forever. Life is a struggle for all of us at some points, and we all have the same struggles. We're in this together. So anyways, there's my hippie spiel for the segment, I guess. Back to training and really how all that is. You'll hear me talk a lot about interconnectedness throughout some of these videos, I'm sure, and you'll probably get tired of hearing me say some of it, but there really is a relationship of ebb and flow and balance that exists in everything in the world. It has to. You can't have one without the other. You can't have evil without good. You can't have sunshine without rain. You can't have happiness without sadness. If there's a winner, there's a loser. There's always a polar opposite to whatever you are experiencing, and there has to be, and you're gonna have to experience it, because you don't just get to pick and choose what you take from life. Having said that, a very important thing that I want to talk about this morning is the power that you do have in your life. I would consider myself a Christian, I guess, because I believe in God. I call my higher power God. I was born and raised Catholic. I don't necessarily identify as a Catholic. However, some of the traditions of the Catholic Church are still somewhat comforting to me, I've found now in my older age. So I'm kind of a hybrid of like what my parents' beliefs were and what my experience and beliefs have led me to up to this point. And I just want to know truth. I want to know truth. I want to know about the characters in the Bible. I want to know about the background of them. I want to know what puts it all together. I don't want to just hear the stories written in fables and interpret those. Although that is important because it is the living word, it will mean something different to everyone, and it will mean something different to you every time you read through it, based on where you are in your life. That's what's so awesome about it. You could read it 1,000 times and it's going to be different every time. Stuff like that's important. It's important. There's a reason so many people gravitated towards it and still do. There's a lot of different reasons why, but those will leave for another time. Those I'll leave for you to figure out what your reasons are. As I suggested in the last video, I'll suggest in this and probably every video, if you don't have something that you believe in that's greater than yourself, find it now, because it's mandatory to succeed. You're gonna run up against something in this world that's bigger than you at some point. A competitor on stage, or a problem in life. It's gonna knock you on your ass, and you're not gonna know what to do without being able to look to something that's greater than you and ask for help. A lot of people consider that weakness, or say that faith is for the weak, but there's countless quotes that touch on that fact and say the opposite. That the measure of a man is measured in his willingness to surrender, his willingness to say, I don't know everything, I can't do everything, I need some help sometimes. That's a man. That's someone that can be honest about where they'll come up short and when they've done something wrong, and own it, and then take the next step and try to fix it. That's gonna be a success. Our struggles and our failures are not something we should sit there and harbor and feel miserable about. It's something that we should learn from, get better from, and move forward. We should be grateful. Be grateful when life kicks you in the stomach, because what's on the other side of that is a hand up and a learning experience and a light bulb that's like, oh shit, I know how to prevent that from happening again. And that's what it's all about, man. Getting 1% better in some way every day. Just be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. A little bit better tomorrow than you were today. Just a little bit, somehow. Doesn't matter. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, economically. Set goals, see how much you can make your bank account grow this month. See how much you can do to nourish your personal relationships this month. See how much of your free time you can donate to do something positive for someone else this month. You know how hot it is outside? You know how many people need bottled water? Like, get a cheap case of bottled water and some Ritz crackers and go hand them out to homeless people. Tell me you don't feel better after doing that. And if you were homeless, you would want someone to do that. I would. I did. I've been homeless. It sucks. Not a good time, especially in the July heat of California, Southern California at that. It's brutal. The world is a tough place sometimes. But anyway, I'm blessed enough to be worrying about things like, what am I going to eat for breakfast today? And back to that, the training and the meals so far. I know I'm only 3 days in, but for a lot of people, getting started in a prep, I think, is the hardest part. For me, I look forward to it because I seem to thrive when I have more structure and fewer options. There's really, like we talked about last time, if your brain only sees one way to get something done, it's not an option, it's the way. It's how it's going to happen. And once you can see that in your brain, sorry, there was a gnat, I swear, there's evidence. You're gonna accomplish it. You're gonna find a way to get it done. If you see one direction to go and you believe that it's possible, it's no longer impossible. Now it's all, now it's just getting it done. Just put in the work to get it done. Anything that you can see in your mind and believe as possible, it is possible, no matter what anyone else tells you. Everyone was crazy until it worked the first time. Einstein, the Wright brothers, Thomas Jefferson. Sit here all morning and name off historical figures that have accomplished things that at the time, some of them were so far out there that like they're ready to be hanged by their society because their beliefs are just like way left field. And then people saw it proven, and now it's possible. They're not crazy anymore. Our bad. Let's take you down from that noose there. Sorry. We're very quick to dismiss things we don't understand as humans, and that's a dangerous, dangerous place to be. You know, you'll miss out on a lot of cool shit that way. You'll miss out on meeting a lot of cool people that way, and you'll miss a lot of the knowledge that those people have to offer you along the way if you just shut down based on a judgment that you make, because you are human, and you will judge. I will, you will, he will, she will, at some point, probably today. Might have already happened this morning. I don't know. Just be careful, you know, just let people be people and see what they have to offer before you shut them down. And always, you know, for me, I just try to, again, I have the benefit of having a lot of life experience for a 37-year-old male. I've done a lot of different things in a lot of different places. And taken something from all of it, you know. And I used to blame people, circumstances, hated myself, couldn't forgive myself. And like I said, thought that I was pretty much doomed to a life of mediocrity, anger, and sadness, and loneliness. It's quite the opposite of that, definitely. Provided I'm willing to wake up, admit that I'm not in control of everything, do the best I can with the things I'm in control of, and go forward from there trying to help someone else or be useful to someone else. Even when I'm in the gym, you know, it's hard for me, because I work out at Planet Fitness, one of the places I work out, Planet Fitness. Nothing against Planet Fitness, okay, but it is a different population of fitness enthusiasts than I am used to. I grew up in a very hardcore powerlifting gym, working there as a teenager, working out there in my later life, still work out there sometimes now. Still looks exactly the same equipment, same trophies on the shelf. You know, a few new ones added, but Strength and Health Barbell Club is what it's called. And shout out to Mark and Strength and Health, because places like that, man, they're what it's all about in my mind. I learned more just kind of like tugging on the pan leg of these huge ass dudes when I was a teenager than I've learned almost anywhere else, other than maybe my like freshman exercise physiology professor, Thomas Fahey, because he's pretty much he's a doctor of exercise. The dude has written for every well-respected magazine or periodical or text, you name it, his name is in there. Thomas Fahey, a Pan-American athlete, dude could bench press over 300 pounds at 65 years old, easily, you know, like not even warmed up. He just lay down and proved he could do it. A crazy old man, but you know what? He sent his son to a ski school in the Swiss Alps every year. He drove a sweet-ass Porsche and had like 3 ex-wives that he paid alimony to. You know, that part I could leave out, but the Porsche and the Swiss ski school and shit, like that sounds, I'm cool with that. Yeah, so I've been blessed enough to have some really educated people in my path that, I don't know what it is in me. There's a lot of things I don't like about myself. One of the things that I do like is that I can make friends with a tree stump. You put me in a room with anyone and I'll talk to them and I'll get to know them. And most of the people I think can at least tolerate me. I'm not gonna say like me, but I get along fairly well with a lot of different types of people. Another huge blessing, you know, and kind of the byproduct of just where I grew up here in East Bakersfield, because it's a melting pot. There's a lot of different kinds of people here. And it's a good thing, you know, it really is. So, again, the training thing, I've done a lot of different types of training. This show, I'm trying not to reinvent the wheel. just basically take the characteristics I like of several different wheel sets and put them together into one, and lace it up spoke by spoke and make it roll as straight as possible. Right now, I'm employing stuff that I learned in high school from my football coach's Bigger, Faster, Stronger program that he implemented on us, you know. So I'm going 5x5 right now, 5x5, 5 sets, 5 reps, you know, so pretty heavy weight. It's not a rep range that's super common for bodybuilders. So why am I doing it? And because I got out of doing it for a long fucking time, and I'm trying to kind of introduce some new stimuli that are going to make my muscles grow. And according to my scale, it's working at least a little bit so far. But 5 sets of 5 reps might not sound like a lot of volume, but if you're controlling that weight with like a 2-second eccentric contraction, an explosive concentric contraction. So if we're doing bench press, 2 seconds down, short pause, explode up. Control a weight, a heavy weight, for 5-6 reps at that speed, and tell me that 5 reps ain't enough to elicit some fatigue, because man, it's a completely different kind of tired. And towards the end of the workout, you know, like I love lifting weights. But shit, you know, the last couple exercises in the training day, I'm like, do I need to do 5? Did I get away with 4? Like, so when that happens, I usually do 6, just to punish myself. But no, seriously, it kind of depends on the muscle group. I'll deviate sometimes, but the rep range stays consistent. Some things, if I don't feel like I need a 5th set, I'll stop at 4. Or sometimes maybe even 3 if someone's really burned out. Like biceps and back especially have a tendency to put way too many exercises on the docket for the day. And so I look at the total volume I'm doing, and I'm like, fuck man, like Ronnie Coleman wouldn't do this, you know? Like, and again, the amount of volume that a person is doing in their training is going to be influenced by, you know, supplements and drugs they're taking or not taking, the food that they're eating or not eating, the sleep that they're getting or not getting. A lot of different things are going to influence how a person trains, you know, and the intensity with which they train. The intensity is the key. As long as you're not lifting in a way that's going to hurt yourself, if you just are very deliberate and driven in what you do, you know, so in other words, you're not cupcaking on your phone in between sets, you're watching the clock, you're taking a scheduled rest period, you're getting in there, you know what exercises you're going to hit, you've got a good mind-muscle connection, and you just beat whatever muscle group it is like it owes you money, get out, you know, down and dirty in a hurry. And if you do that, you're going to see some results. You know, I don't really care if you're doing the right or wrong training protocol. I don't believe that there is one. I believe that if it's controlled and safe in terms of the range of motion and the speed that you're doing it in, you are going to benefit from resistance training. And that's not just Adam Coleman talking, that is science. It's just that simple. So yeah, the 5x5, it feels kind of good to lift a little bit heavier for me. Again, you know, I weigh this morning 172.8 pounds. Not a real heavy dude, big dude, but pound for pound, I'm fairly strong. Or I'll get back to being fairly strong, because I've been the runt, always. I've always worked out with people that were bigger and stronger than me, so I just always had to try to keep up. So people like Franco Columbu, bodybuilders that are built like him, you know, I'm more of a fan of, like, I guess the early 70s through early 90s bodybuilders. So, you know, guys like Columbu, Rich Piana, Lee Labrada, and now his son's competing, doing a great job with it. You know, of course, people like Dorian Yates and Lee Haney. And then, you know, then came Ronnie Coleman and some of these mass monsters that you see today that have a completely different look and attitude about the sport. And it's necessary, you know, you got different strokes for different folks. Do I think that massive growth hormone doses and insulin and extreme amounts of exogenous hormones are doing good for the sport? No, I don't. It's obvious because people are dying before 30 years old with enlarged organs that ain't fucking normal, folks. Your lungs should not be 3 times heavier than what the standard lung is supposed to weigh without fluid in it. So it's not like they drowned and that's where the weight's coming from. The lung itself is so enlarged and heavy that there are people dying 28 years old. I'm not gonna name names because I don't think it's respectful, but they teach us something, even in their passing. God rest their soul, and comfort their families. But you know, a heart or a liver that's 3 times the size of what it's supposed to be. Your heart operates on electrical impulses. It needs to stay the same size and feed roughly the same size human. So dudes that are gaining and losing 70 pounds or more multiple times in a year, that's like a life-changing event if you do it once. Dudes are doing it like it's on repeat, just like it's the thing to do. God damn, that's so hard on your heart. It's so hard on your liver. It's so hard on your whole body, on your mind, you know, on your wardrobe. Jesus Christ. How many times are you popping tags a year and buying clothes? So moderation is really the key to everything I found out. And that kind of sucks because like we talked about, I suck at it. But the training is very scheduled, very regimented in terms of frequency. The list and the way that I work out has changed a lot. I stopped trying to write down lifts I wanted to do going into the gym because they always changed. I really just have a muscle group or groups that I want to influence and just kind of go from there and see what happens. But you know, hopefully I'll get some video footage for you guys soon. But where we're at now, this morning, it was 12.8%, 172.8 pounds. That is a percent lower than yesterday. Cardio-wise right now, I'm doing a 30-minute walk in the morning, or will be doing a walk once short stuff is ready to go the whole distance. And then 10 minutes of intervals after the weight training session on an elliptical, so it's low impact. That's all I'm doing cardio-wise right now. And that I'm doing really just so I can eat more food because my BMR, my basal metabolism, my resting metabolism, the amount of calories my body needs to just exist is almost 2,000. So that's high. I'm pleased with that. You know, I'm eating almost 4,000 calories a day and losing body fat. My target is 400 grams of carbs, over 100 grams of fat. I think it's 125 grams of fat a day. And again, I weigh 175 pounds, give or take. So if I'm eating that and losing body fat, but gaining some muscle mass, you know, it should, I hope, go to show you maybe some deficiencies in your diet. Because for a long time, I made the mistake of thinking that I just needed to eat protein and I'd get bigger. I didn't need to eat carbs because then I'd get fat. Fucking idiot. Wasted a lot of time that way, you know, and I don't want to say wasted. I learned, you know, it probably could have been a little more productive in the muscle mass that I gained, but as we talked about, I would have lost it anyway, bike racing, so it don't really matter. But knowing that I have that much room in my diet to cut things out, like when I get down to 10 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, you know, it's comforting. Like if I was starting now and eating 100, 150 grams of carbs, and that's a high day, like I'd be fucked. Because I don't do well on low carb diets. I get cranky, I get foggy as far as my thinking. Not a super pleasant person to be around, and I don't look real healthy. You know, I'm not a great example of fitness, I don't feel like. And we do, bodybuilders are a great example and a horrible example of fitness because we do things that I would never tell a client to do. Never, ever, ever, ever. But sometimes it's just all go, no show, you know, it's just about put up or shut up and whatever it takes to get it done, you know. I definitely am part of that population that will do what it takes to get what they want. And if that means taking a few risks at this point in my life to be the best I can be at something, I'm gonna do it, you know, even if it means maybe potentially a year or two off my life. Some people might disagree with that. I would rather have a slightly lesser time theoretically, but just be into it and living it and going as hard as I can than just floating along, playing it safe, and you know, never jaywalking, never eating red meat, never playing contact sports, never watching R movies, and just, you know, being bubble boy. Like, that's not living to me. I don't, like, put me down if I have to do that. I don't want to do that. Like we talked about, I'm not not a moderate person, so I'm going to be on the extreme end of things. It's not where I recommend you be. It's just the way I am. So if you have some questions or comments or input or insight on training, I would love to hear them. You know, I'm not going to stay at 5x5. That's going to be probably till the end of July, and then I'll go back to probably like a 3x12 to 15 or 10 to 15, and then just throw some curveballs in there, drop sets, negative reps, put some resistance bands on for different types of resistance, things of this nature. Just always kind of keep my body guessing, basically, is what I try to do. That's where the knowledge meets the road, you know, where you can really apply some of this stuff, and it's pretty cool, and it keeps it interesting, you know, so you don't get bored. But I love training. I love talking about training. I love nutrition. I love talking about nutrition. That's my background in school. It's my background in life. It's what I've spent a large part of my time doing and understanding, or trying to. So, you know, I don't ever hesitate to ask me a question if it's a legit question. If you're just trying to get a comment and a shout out on YouTube, I mean, just tell me that and I'll give you a shout out on YouTube, man. But anyway, make sure you like and subscribe down there at the bottom. That'll help me help you. The more information and education I can push out, the better. It's what this channel is for. I hope some of you can benefit from my experiences and things that I've done, because it'll save you some time. So yeah, this turned into another long diatribe, and for that I apologize, but caffeine in early mornings sometimes do funny things to people. So again, this is Adam Benjamin Coleman at the Human Performance Project, 157 days away from the stage, an NPC show. And I will continue to keep you updated and get some footage for you. I need a workout partner, I'm just saying. You know, if anyone's available and wants some free personal training, essentially, hit me up and we can get some of that footage out here on the web faster. But thank you to those that have taken the time to listen. Thank you to those that take the time to help me in this prep. Christian Ricks, big shout out to my boy, who's also a fellow competitor. Yeah, you know, it's really, really comforting and invaluable to have peers that are good at this sport and have a good head on their shoulders to bounce things off of and ask what they do sometimes, because sometimes I need a fresh set of eyes or just a different perspective on things. But anyway, like I talked about, find a higher power today, enjoy your day today, try to help someone else today, be a good human, get better in some way today and every day. You can do it. You have the power of choice in your life. Don't act like you're stuck in your circumstance with the people that you're in there with. You have a choice to change that circumstance, to change that circle of people, to change the way you think about those people and those circumstances. That is your choice. You in large part dictate how your day is going to go, not anybody else. So don't sit there and blame, turn the finger around, take responsibility, and get something done. If you don't like it, fix it. If you like it, keep doing it. Simple. Anyways, much love. Nothing but goodness and prosperity. Till next time, thanks again. And we will see you guys probably tomorrow, right back here, headquarters for the Human Performance Project, with me, Adam Coleman, and Pepper, wherever she went. But yeah, thanks again, guys. Enjoy your day. Be good, do good. Stay swell, stay swole.